It's Alive with Dr. Carolyn Dean. Carolyn is amazing. She's a doctor, she's a naturopath, she's an herbalist, she's an acupuncturist. She's going to tell you exactly what she would do if she were in your shoes. I can't think of a person who has devoted more time to helping people's health than Dr. Carolyn Dean. She can make a huge difference as you listen to her words of wisdom. We know she's ahead of time because she is the doctor of the future. Welcome, Dr. Carolyn Dean. Yay, yay, yay. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean. We've been here for 100,000 million trillion years, it seems like. I think, Carolyn, we've been doing this show since 2012. And Dr. Dean, in her inimitable way, has rolled out an entire line of dietary supplements, started a nonprofit, written 1,000 books, and just is a constant source of inspiration, longevity, wellness, vitality, hope, compassion for everyone who tunes in, and all of the 180,000 customers we serve just in the United States. That does not include all of our global distributors around the world in practically every part of the world. And we're so happy to have you here with us today. We intend on making a big difference. And I think we're doing it, Carolyn. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. The 180,000, when I think of that, I think, well, those are the purchasers. But the purchasers are purchasing for their family.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be way up there, a lot more than 180,000 people using these incredible formulas that nobody else can come close to.
Oh, correct. Yeah, that's just 180,000 names. Believe me, we get the bills for the products we order. It's way more bottles than that. That is for sure. But we're just so happy to have everybody here with us. And we're so happy that you've tuned in to join us and to learn from Dr. Dean's wisdom. And of course, this is her medical opinion show. This is her First Amendment right. We don't ever intend to diagnose or treat diseases or any of that other FDA regulated stuff. We never do any of that. But we certainly do want to learn from Dr. Dean's fountain and treasury of her wisdom, because she's been at this over 55 years. You would never know it to look at her, though, people. And that's her formulas, I'm telling you right there. And you would never know to think about that in terms of like she would be super jaded. But she's not. She's very optimistic. She's very hopeful. And the thing that she knows more than anything is the body can always be healed, even though we don't talk about healing. So with that, we are going to proceed onto the show. We've got blogs and books and all kinds of things and helpful hacks and topics and testimonials and Dr. Dean's critique of all kinds of medical details. And it's just going to be so much fun. So sit back and here we go.
Very good. Yes, you should start with a mini rant these days. This is our little friend, Dr. Nick Norwich. He's an MD, PhD, and he's mainly in the blogosphere. It doesn't sound like he wants to practice medicine. He wants to present the research to the public. So I was really surprised with this podcast on March 3rd, 2026. He was on with Dr. Ken Berry and Ken Berry's podcast. And he wanted to report on a worrisome state of medicine and science. Apparently, he and some other folks were involved in research that met up against a lot of bureaucracy and a lot of shiftiness. And he was surprised. Now, I don't know how he got this far without realizing the corrupted nature of nutritional science, which is what the FDA commissioner, Dr. Marty McCary, said. I talked about that a couple of weeks ago. So he said, these are his words, coming from academia as an MD and PhD, both my parents are PhDs. 5 of my close family members are MDs and PhDs. And with all that under his belt, he said, it's painfully clear that our scientific system, which presents itself as purely meritocratic, on the merits only, meritocratic, the reality is sobering. I've become so disillusioned. We just want the answers, and the degree of obstruction and obscene bureaucracy is hard to express without sounding like a conspiracy theorist. Now, what's going to happen here, Jenny, is he's going to get slammed because you can't come out against the system that he's married to. And part of what's going on with nutrition science and the medical research science is most of it is fake. Most of it, they want to get a certain result, so they gear toward the result they want. Hardly any of these studies can be replicated. I've been looking into it because we're doing this study here in Maui. So he's going to have some heavy backlash about what he's saying here. And also, he's never going to get to the real point of nutrition science, which is nutrients. He has not studied nutrients in his PhD or his MD. He's not looked into it. He'll sort of mention this and that as a sidebar. But until you recognize that every metabolic reaction in the body requires cofactors of vitamins and minerals, which drive the reaction, as they do their study and just try to narrow it down to either one substance, or when it comes to herbs, they'll try to find the most active ingredient and study that. So he's going to stay disillusioned for a long time, I'm afraid. So that's my rant before I get to the library. So what do you have to say about that, Jenny?
Wow. Well, I've heard you talk about him. I had no idea that he had never studied nutrients at all. So he's part of the problem. He's part of the system that he's criticizing, and he's an obstacle himself. And that's unfortunate, but it's true, because he doesn't understand, like you said, the biochemical reactions in the body. That's just it. So God bless him, and maybe he will now. There we have many. I mean, whether it's Jason Fung or tons and tons of doctors who were regular GPs or internal medicine docs, and they got tired of writing the pill prescriptions, and they started to look into nutrients, and they've diversified or completely changed their practices as a result. So maybe this will drive him in a good direction. And he hasn't given himself very long to get disillusioned. So that's good too. He hasn't built anything to try to protect, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's so many problems out there. Like right now, what is it? Oh yeah, RFK Jr. is forcing 53 medical schools to put 40 hours of nutrition into their school curriculum. And I don't know who I posted to. It was on X, and I said, okay, all well and good, but what are they going to teach? If they teach evidence-based sources, evidence-based nutrition, that's science-based, that's study-based, and all the studies are fake. You might as well say, I'd say 50, 70%, and that's been documented. So what are they going to teach? Are they going to have a plant-based person in there saying, oh yeah, right, you can't eat meat? Are they going to have a meat-based person in there saying, oh, you can't eat plants? It's an individual expression of our health is what we eat and the nutrients we take. And at least we're here giving, information that helps and heals. And we don't have any other bias, but that our formulas are the best there are. So until people catch up with us, and we'll we'll stay low key. We're not going to do the big splash, the $1 million marketing that that shows this from the rooftops, because that's when you get sidelined. But anyway, enough of the conspiracy theories.
Well, the one thing I do want to say is I like where we're at now in the evolution of our brand. We've always had the products, we've always had faith in them. But I think with this longevity thing that you've done, we're really at the crux of the matter, which is what cellular health is about and what keeps us alive. And the biochemical reactions in the body, methylation and otherwise, metabolic functions, and all those things that are, you say, reliant on cofactors of vitamins and minerals is the key to cellular health and longevity and well-being, period, a buffo. There's nowhere else to be. There's no wiggle room. So we actually have built our entire thesis upon something that is structurally, foundationally, biochemically, and otherwise sound. And that's where my confidence comes in to say, Dr. Dean's who you should be listening to, and our formulas are what you should be taking, because they've been proven time and time again to match at every degree and angle. So I'm very, very impressed with what we have. And when people figure it out or they experience the difference for themselves, that's really when things get interesting for them.
Awesome. Okay, moving on to the library. Where is my library? The missing link, magnesium, the missing link to total health is what we're highlighting. And I know it's backwards, but from there, we're working with Detox Deep Dive as our blog this week. Detox Deep Dive, cleanse without the crash. And I've said for many years, are you too toxic to detox? Because that's what we'll see with a lot of social media, making detox into a spectacle. And we looked at some social media stats. Nearly 1 million people are watching influencers on their posts of dramatic before and after stories, claiming they've eliminated parasites or pulled toxins out in their weekend purge or their 2, 5, 10-week purges. But these are aggressive detox trends, and they often create more distress than relief. As a medical doctor and naturopath, I've been looking at this for many years. And what I've come to is that all these extreme cleanses, they're designed to target some sort of invader, infection or toxin. But it does force the body into crisis. We're dealing with someone who may be too toxic to detox. So it stirs people up. I remember there's one mercury treatment. I don't know if it's DMSA or there's a chelator that you take, and it pulls the mercury out of the cells where it's trying to hide. And you actually get worse because it's pulling the mercury out of places where it's not causing any problems. So see what happens in my world is I end up talking with the people who've had the bad reactions, and they just don't know where to turn. So when it comes to parasites, for example, I've said this many times. Clinically, if you have yeast overgrowth, your intestinal environment is going to be compatible with parasites. And parasites, they're in water, they're in food. In New York, I thought I was getting a parasite attack every time I ate sushi. And I'd have to take the treatment that we were using for the AIDS and chronic fatigue patients. And then I realized I had to get rid of my yeast overgrowth. And we have found that consistently in our customers. They're not coming to us talking about the parasites they found or tested for, because if you treat the yeast and give your microbiome the balance it's not going to allow parasites to take hold. The body is smart. It in a balanced state, it doesn't allow invaders. And then there's heavy metals. So this is what people talk about when they detox: the parasites, heavy metals. Do you know why heavy metals end up in your body? It's because you don't have enough minerals. The heavy metals will attach themselves to binding sites where you're supposed to have your minerals, mineral receptor sites. You don't have enough minerals. Mineral receptor sites are empty. The heavy metals will glom on. We're talking about mercury, lead, aluminum, cadmium, nickel. So the treatment for this toxic metal overload is to remineralize, especially with magnesium. And in this article or blog that I have at drcarolyndean.com, it's the latest one published, I go into the sources of heavy metal exposure, and then I talk about the fast detox protocols causing the crashes. I mean, it can even be if you're doing a liver detox, that you will actually open the liver up and it will dump viruses that have been sequestered in the liver. The hepatitis virus will hang out in the liver. And basically, 3 phases of a gentle detox. We're talking about the body constantly being in a detox mode. You take food in, you metabolize, you grow and repair, and then at night, supposedly, you're detoxing. And to do that, you have your magnesium, which is our Remag, trace minerals, our Remite, our Realign. You're drinking your minerals in sea salted water, Realign with the methylated food-based B vitamins and sulfur-based amino acids. And of course, vitamin C from whole food seed capsules or our vitamin C berry powder, anywhere from 2 to 10 grams a day. And all along the way, you're supporting your gut by eliminating sugars and refined carbohydrates, just the basics. You're supporting beneficial flora, eating some kimchi or some fermented foods, and working on having a daily bowel movement. All the carnivores and keto diet people without enough fiber, they have a tendency toward constipation. So you want to use your psyllium seed powder. Movement is very important. That's what allows our lymphatic drainage to work, is movement. So exercise is very important for detoxing. And you want to cleanse without the crash. Detox is not a weekend event. It's a cellular, ongoing rebuilding process. So there you have it, Ginny.
Beautiful. That is so beautiful and perfect. That's just beautiful. Thank you. We have some questions. And a comment. Let me just read these back to you. One of them is, I've been detoxing heavy metals for 10 years. She says, I won't give up, but it's awful frustrating. And she says, the numbers came down, but it's not 100% eliminated. I hope Remag and Remite will pull it out eventually. What do you think about 100% elimination of heavy metals in this world, Carolyn?
Well, I don't know the testing. There's hair analysis, there's blood testing. So I don't know what the testing was from. It's hard to say. I mean, yeah, we shouldn't have any mercury, that's for sure. But the whole attitude of thinking, well, I have this monster inside me, and it's really hurting me.
Mm-hmm.
What does that do to your psychology?
Mm.
So yeah, using the Remag and Remite, just to say, I am remineralizing, I'm rebuilding my cells with the best building blocks, so that my body won't think it needs these heavy metals as building blocks. And I will allow them to leave, because your cells are constantly going through a turnover. It's not like there's some special dock where your heavy metals stay and never move. They are docked onto cells. Those cells live and die. When they die, then you'll remove the heavy metal with the cell. And that's where, good bowel movements, taking your fiber is helpful. So
Yeah.
I guess I would just, reframe this whole business about I'm being attacked by heavy metals. And this is what doctors, mostly chiropractors, naturopaths, they do a lot of testing to say, oh, this is really bad. Here, take all these products. What we say is, with the natural nutrients that your body needs for every cellular happenstance, then the body will take care of itself. And it seems too simplistic, but you got to start simple. You really do. And the more I go into the various studies and what we know, that they're diving into the minutia of the chemical processes. And I just look up these chemicals and I say, oh, how much does this body chemical depend on magnesium? Oh, it needs an enzyme that is dependent on magnesium in order for it to work. It is constantly happening to me. So that's why, as Ginny said, we are so confident about what we're doing, because the science here, the science is behind us. And this is me saying this after I said the science is so bad. But I'm talking about when they keep talking about, oh, this enzyme is so important and we need this herb in order to promote it. No, you need magnesium usually. So
Right.
why go to a non-organic, potentially toxic herbal component when you haven't taken enough REMAG?
Yeah, most likely have not. And you'll know if you do a RBC blood test. We used to talk about this a lot more than we do now, Carolyn. I remember in customer service, but that's also when we were trying to help people in a different way than we can help them now. But RBC magnesium blood test is available. You can get it through your doctor, but you can also order them online and go in for a blood draw and find your saturation level. A lot of people are surprised when they find out that they're not that saturated. So you really want to build up that saturation. And speaking of that, another one of our listeners wrote in, my question is, do we need to take minerals if we have a reverse osmosis system? Probably because she thinks minerals are added back into the water after they've all been stripped out. What do you say to that, Carolyn?
Well, reverse osmosis takes everything out.
Yeah.
It does it. Reverse osmosis. I mean, when I was in the lab in Manhattan, I had this incredible machinery. And at the end of this was actually distillation I'm talking about.
Hmm.
I would distill like a gallon of New York tap water, and at the bottom would be a quarter cup of dirt.
Hmm.
So we do need to have some sort of filtration of our water. And then we have to replace the minerals with the quarter teaspoon of sea salt in every liter of drinking water, and with our REMAG, REMIDE, and picopotassium at least.
Yes, my husband does water treatment, and what he says also too is they do add some minerals back for in RO, but that's just to make the water taste palatable.
Right.
Drink flat
Right.
water, but
Right.
you're not getting biologically saturation minerals that you need for health, vitality, and well-being in your RO water. No
No,
way.
they're not picometer stabilized ions.
No, no. So
If-
yes,
Yeah, they would have to get them from us, and none of them are coming to us for the minerals.
then that's not happening. Well, if they did, we would say no anyway. We would
Yeah.
say, here, buy a case of them or whatever.
Right.
Okay, very good. So, what's next, sweetheart? What would you like to do?
Where am I? That's not it. There we go. Questions and comments. Okay, we've got several Pico Pet testimonials, but we also have a little video. Shall we get Rachel to run that right now?
Yeah, so cute. Yeah.
how Victor went from this to this. As a pet sitter, I see a lot of pets who get tired or sluggish throughout the day. His owner started using Picomite, and I almost immediately noticed a difference. His owner also mentioned that it's helped with his digestion, his joints, and his coat. I've noticed that dogs on Picomite seem healthier, happier, and more energized. Victor's a senior, so she wanted to get his energy back to how it used to be, which makes my job easier and way more fun. So if you've got a senior pup, I definitely recommend.
Isn't that cute?
That's adorable. I love those little dogs with hardly any legs.
Well, I just am so touched that the audience that's really finding us for the Pico Pet products are people with older dogs.
Mm.
They're concerned about their health, their vitality, and their well-being. And so it's perfect. We're very, very happy to have these people on board. Yeah.
Yeah, because we can make an obvious difference in pets that have, quote, problems. It is going to be harder to give it to pets like Artie here, who's, a happy, healthy young dog. But in order to prevent the symptoms in the future, the pets need minerals just like we do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks, Rachel. Okay, so then the testimonials, a review for Pico Silver for Pets from Betsy, who said, "This is the first supplement I've gotten for my dog, and I'm loving it. I don't see any need to try any other brands. My dog has had great results." And again, for Pico Pets, Picomite from Reagan, who says, "This definitely seems to help my pets." And a third one, RNA reset for Remag, I guess for humans. Linda says, "I've been taking your minerals for many years now. I love the balance in your products. They're the best you can get. With what I went through with heart failure, I am proof that Remag and vitamin C berry powder work." Now that's what we want people on. We can't make any claims to say, well, the magnesium and vitamin C will help your heart, but it seems like they do. Okay. And under the next title, Pros and Cons of Supplements, Drugs, and Research, what have I got here? It's a presentation on the Dr. Talks Summit Series on heart disease. And it was called "Do Any Supplements Reverse Heart Disease?" A cardiologist review. So I listened to it to see if they had caught up to the 70-year-old research on high-dose vitamin C and heart disease and the 35 years of research I've done on magnesium and heart disease. So the doctor right away assured us that he was going to talk about evidence-based supplements for heart disease, which means science-based studies. Then he said that his recommendations are based on the 1998 Dr. Dean Ornish lifestyle heart trial, which was plant-based using exercise and medication. And this trial aimed to demonstrate that intensive lifestyle changes could lead to the regression of coronary atherosclerosis. So right away, they're going to go vegan-based, vegetable-based, and put down meat. And this trial in 1998, it was really quite mind-blowing at the time. 48 patients randomly assigned, 5-year period, resulted in 37% reduction in LDL cholesterol. And now we know LDL doesn't mean anything. And a 91% reduction in angina frequency. That's nice. In contrast, the control group had 27% increase in coronary artery stenosis. Now, they didn't tell me about the stenosis in the other group. So anyway, it was, at the time, it was very much touted, but intensive lifestyle. Nobody's going to follow it. It really did not attract people. And then The science base, I've already said, the science doesn't really hold true. They're trying to get a result and they aim for that result. So then here are the supplements he outlines. Pycnogenol. So super antioxidant derived from pine tree bark, $95. Centilicum, a patented extract of gotu kola. So they're extracting out the most the strongest part of the formula. So they're taking the part of a herb that has the most activity, isolating it, and then putting it in a bottle and selling it for $30. And I think these are like a monthly treatment. Aged garlic, but when you age garlic, you lose the allicin, which is what causes the pungent odor and breath odor, another $30. Then there's arterosil, and the ingredients in this are, it starts with dextrose, which is sugar, muscle meat meal, whey powder, soy, seaweed flour, vegetable oil, which omega-6, we put that down now, yeast, sodium chloride, which is salt, glucosamine, MSM, quercetin, rutin, chondroitin, and the very last ingredient is vitamin C. Now, it sounds like a joint formula, but he's saying he's using it for the heart. That's $99. Nattokinase, a blood thinner, they've promoted that in Japan a lot. That's $30. But, if you're taking something to replace a blood thinner, you better take one that's really has a high trust score. Any of these supplements, you would go to Supco. Pomegranate is the next one as another antioxidant, $30. And bergamot lowers cholesterol. Again, cholesterol is our friend, not our enemy. That's $20 to $50. And then an omega-3. Now, Nordic omega-3, Nordic Naturals, $70. Or Nutricost, $20. I mean, how do you know which one is safe and or beneficial? And high dose vitamin K2. He doesn't say to take organic herbs. And when I looked up all these supplements on Amazon, they're not organic. So you're looking at $439 a month of mostly herbs that aren't organic. Did he say anything about magnesium or vitamin C or potassium or lysine or proline? Nah, nada. So the deep down critic in me will say that the evidence basis for these supplements are likely studies paid for by the supplement industry to promote their products. The people that watch this summit are going to go down a rabbit hole of all these supplements, which are mostly antioxidants, which can give you too much antioxidant capacity and neutralize the very oxidation that runs our body's metabolism. So there you go, Ginny. That's the state of the art in all these summits and seminars that they're putting on for people. And it just seems, I don't know if they're just trying to sell supplements or to look smart by, here's the top 12 things that you can take. Right. No mention of magnesium or vitamin C.
Right. Well, it's just mind-blowing. I mean, and again, what we've learned and what so many have known for years is that true mitochondrial dysregulation is at the basis of most disease because mitochondria start to give out and they can't perform. So here's the heart full of mitochondria, and there's absolutely no reference whatsoever to magnesium, which is essential for mitochondrial health. I mean, you cannot have healthy mitochondria without magnesium. It's impossible.
Yeah. And sunlight, as our dear doctor friend reminded us the other day. And that's why I think I'm doing so well is I'm so blessed to be able to get out in the morning and get the morning sun, because that stimulates through your eyes, stimulates your pituitary and your pineal, and just starts things going. It wakes you up. Now I'm looking at, well, what happens to the Eskimos, the Inuit, who live in mostly darkness, and they actually have enzymes that can accommodate that. I'm going to look into it in more detail. Because is it without fail or exception? Well, what about someone living in an area where it may be dark for 22 hours a day?
Right.
Wow.
The cold adaptation is big. It's a proxy almost for sunlight. Eskimos are cold adapted, cold and fat adapted, right? Because of the way they live. So that's almost a proxy for sunlight.
Yeah. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
But then, you're every once in a while I'll read about some poor person who did the cold plunge and it just stopped their heart.
That's not the way to get cold adapted at all. Not the way to do. No.
You have to be careful about that. So, the age group that we seem to attract, I do not recommend. My cold plunge, and I've said it before, is walking out of the shower into air-conditioned room. That's my cold plunge.
There you go. Very good.
I do have a little hack today if Rachel wants to put that up. Now this is interesting. Oh, I'll send this to you and Melody Rose just for the URL of it. I have to click on my email because I keep my email off so it doesn't be dinging all the time. But yeah, this is an interesting a questionnaire. It's an assessment of stress. And I'm using it for the study because some of the values that are coming up in our Maui Reset study show stress adaptation. Like taking your magnesium and vitamin C will help you adapt to stress and take care of it. So this is a Holmes Rahi life stress inventory. And one of the ladies will put up the URL for it. So it's a social readjustment rating scale. You select each of the life events that have happened to you in the previous 1 or 2 years by clicking on the numbers of all the life events that apply to you. Your points are totaled, just automatically totaled on this online site. There's horrible life events like death of a spouse is 100 points, divorce 73 points, marital separation from a mate 65, death of a close family member 63, major personal injury or illness 53. Now with all my injuries lately, I had a high stress score, but I don't feel stressed. So what I realized is my formulas are keeping what it's doing. It's adjusting my adrenal glands so that I'm not constantly pumping out adrenaline. It's neutralizing the attempt of my body to be in a fight or flight situation. So isn't that cool, Jenny? The test only takes a couple of minutes to do, and I think it's really worthwhile.
Yes, Melody Rose has posted it on the channel for everybody.
Yeah, I don't want people to be scared though, because it's like, oh my gosh, look at my numbers. It just reinforces that you do have to stay on top of your stress with your lifestyle and your formulas. Lifestyle meaning you get your exercise, you eat well, you sleep well, and you have a good attitude, and you drink your mineralized water and swallow your vitamins.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, speaking of vitamin C, and magnesium. I just want everybody to know, and we've already gotten a question on the chat line, that our next sale is this Wednesday, March 11th. Wow. It's a little tiny sale. It's a short sale. It's a sale, buy one, get one 50% off on Remag, Realign, and Vitamin C Reset Powder. Just the 8-ounce Remag, people. So don't go crazy on customer service when you can't get the 16s. But that'll get you going and hold you through till our semi-annual sales. So you'll be able to get a great deal on Remag, a great deal on Realign, and a great deal on the Vitamin C Reset Powder. So you'll get something come through your email that'll let you know how to connect to it. But I'm sure if you just go on our website on Wednesday, it'll all be worked out. So.
And how many of each are you allowed to get?
Well, we're how many of each? I don't think we're really limiting the number. We're just going to sell until we run out of the number that we've set.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we've got, certain numbers of all the products. And then we'll just say, well, no, we're not discounting anymore. So you will want to, get there early. I would say that. Yeah.
Okay.
Now here's another couple questions for you, Carolyn. And one of them is, can you remind me what was helpful for you when you had your fall?
Okay. Falls where I scraped and I had wounds, I would use Pico Silver clay packs to pull out the dirt and the inflammation. I would take arnica right away. I travel with arnica. I remember one time hiking in the backwoods up in Canada, and I fell through this bridge, and man, and so I got up, rolled over, reached to my pack, took my arnica, and I was able to get up and walk.
Wow.
And then lots of sea, just everything as much as you can take. I don't know what else. What am I missing, Ginny?
You wrapped your arm, remember, in your Remag balm. You had your handkerchief.
Yeah, for about a year, I would put Remag balm on a folded up big handkerchief, the cool handkerchiefs. I made them into Band-Aids, and I'd wrap it on my arm so that, it's, it looks a bit skewed, doesn't it? Yeah. No pain. So the Remag balm locally, and I do get body work. I get a massage that's like torture because it digs into the tendons and muscles. Because when you have knee injuries and you walk funny for a while, it affects your feet. And when you have an elbow injury, oh my gosh, I was so mad because my great muscular arm turned into a noodle after 3 weeks of not using my arm. But as soon as I start my weights again, I've got my muscles back.
Very good.
I brag, and it probably causes me to do more falls, but I brag that I never break anything when I fall. But I've had 3 major falls and trips and whatever, and I think that's enough. I have proven that my bones are resilient. And this is the problem with smaller people. We are told we have thinner bones. I've never gotten a bone scan or whatever they call DEXA scan, because a DEXA scan is trying to compare my 77-year-old bones with a 30-year-old. It really is. That's the definition. And they say, well, you're a whatever, 1 notch below a 30-year-old or 2 notches below. And that's how they define our poor little bones. Whereas what we're meant to do as we get older, as our bones sort of thin out a bit, is keep our muscles strong so that it puts tension on our bones and keeps them strong. And we're also meant to have our magnesium and our vitamin D and K2 and our omega-3, all the nutrients, all the multiple minerals that go into the bone, and calcium either from the diet or from the recalcia.
Very cool. Savvy posted that her girlfriend's been using the balm. She got into an accident. She said it's fantastic, and her husband is even using it now. Just said it helps them so much. So that is a very powerful product. Of course, we can't advertise it the way we'd like to, but we all have the inside track to what Dr. Dean does to her body, and we can kind of tap into that. Now, Super Dougie, our dear friend Super Dougie, would Dr. Dean comment on her new higher dose vitamin C product that's in development?
I guess Super Dougie, I was motivated to work with it because of all the heart disease that seemed to jump up around the COVID years. And thinking back to Linus Pauling's work, I found this book called Practicing Medicine Without a License by Owen Fornero. It's free on Kindle. And he defines the Pauling work. And they put down Pauling and heart disease and just, he was just talking about high dose vitamin C for the common cold. But he was working diligently on reversing heart disease because what vitamin C does is it makes collagen. If you don't have enough vitamin C, the collagen of your arteries is weak and fragile, and it will tear a little bit, and cholesterol will come along and try to act like a Band-Aid on that tear. And if you don't have enough magnesium, you have relatively more calcium in your blood, and the calcium just gloms onto the cholesterol, and that's plaque, vitamin C deficiency, and magnesium deficiency. And the reason why vitamin C is even more important for humans is we don't make our own vitamin C. All the animal kingdom except humans, apes, and bats make their own vitamin C. And so that means we have to get it, and we can't get it enough from fruit. So luckily, there are a few people before Linus Pauling, and I put that all in my vitamin C book that I've just finished, and it'll be out in another month or so. Amazing stuff about vitamin C. Vitamin C and blood glucose travel on the same insulin transporter. So if you're eating a lot of sugar, the insulin will be all bound up with glucose and not allow vitamin C to be transported into cells. So we get cell damage because we don't have vitamin C as a proper antioxidant. There's so much. Vitamin C, if it's not in the cells, it can't digest the waste products of metabolism. And also, when sugar gets into a cell, it will transform into a sugar downstream product called sorbitol. Sorbitol is a heavier molecule than glucose, and it'll stick in the cells. It can't get out, and it builds up and kills the cells. And that's the cause of the peripheral neuropathy and diabetes, and in people who just eat a lot of sugar. Right. So vitamin C is vital, vital, vital.
Very good. Excellent. Well, you guys, the book is really fantastic. Melody Rose, who is working on it right now, and it will be out soon. And when you get it, you're really going to want to dive into it because it's phenomenal to learn all the important things that you want to know about that. Now, here's another question, Carolyn, and this one is on a different nutrient. This is on copper. Any thoughts on copper supplements and copper toxicity risks?
Yeah, we know about copper compound toxicity. Carl Pfeiffer scared everybody about copper back in the 70s when I was studying naturopathic medicine. We all thought copper was evil, but it was copper compounds, and it was copper without the balance of zinc. Copper is vital for the heart, you just look up the benefits of copper. And then, there's the side effects. We started using copper plumbing. We got too much copper. Copper IUDs got too much copper. But what what we do know is that if you have zinc at 10 milligrams and copper at 1 milligram, they balance each other out. They don't cause a problem where, these 50 milligram zinc tablets, they will nuke your copper, or high dose copper can nuke some of your zinc. So it's just about putting things in balance, and that's what we try to do all day and every day.
That's right. That's right. Okay, we're getting to 10 minutes, just 10 minutes before the end of the show, Carolyn. You haven't done any of your topics yet. So what I'm going to say at this point is, if you've got a question and we don't answer it on the show, we want you to go to questions@drcarolyndean.com. Send it in. We'll answer it. If you're on our YouTube and you've learned something, please put it in the comments below. We love to have the after set, the people who show up after the live, to make comments there for us. And Carolyn, why don't you take a few minutes to cover some of your topics, because we didn't even get to any last week.
All right. We're jumping to safety of Crohn's disease medications.
Oh, good.
So this is a comparative effectiveness study of various advanced therapies. Okay, when you hear the word advanced, that's going to mean expensive injectable biologics. So for Crohn's, they found no significant differences in risks for serious infections, blood clots, major heart events, suggesting that the safety concern should not be the main consideration in treatment sequencing. Seriously. That's what they said about these advanced, expensive drugs. They cause just as much serious side effects as the other drugs, so why not use them? Seriously? Big question mark. So you see what I'm saying? It's like they just toss off, well, they cause the same amount of infections and heart problems as the other, so why not use them? They are clowns. They are not looking at finding something safe to use. And the phrase treatment sequencing, they know that drugs don't work, so they run them in a sequence. Oh, this drug failed. Here's the next one. So what they're saying here is just jump to the most risky and the most expensive one right in the beginning. And what causes Crohn's disease in my world? Sugar, gluten, and dairy. Probably yeast overgrowth. If it's not causing it, it will be exacerbated because of all the antibiotics and steroids given if you have an inflammatory bowel disease. You're going to have yeast overgrowth. So if I had Crohn's, I'd be taking our Flora Revive, our Pico Silver, and all my other formulas to heal the gut, the liver, the thyroid, and the adrenals that are all stressed with having this inflammatory bowel disease. The next study, exercise may mitigate risk for preeclampsia in pregnancy. So yeah, exercise is great, but it's magnesium that mitigates risk for preeclampsia. I mean, I don't even have to go through this study. If you do any study that includes morning sunshine, the mitochondria, exercise, good sleeping habits, and stress reduction, you can beat out most drug therapies. So I'm not going to say any more than that. Magnesium is the treatment for preeclampsia. They give it IV when a woman is delivering and her blood pressure is high, she's got edema, she's maybe having seizures, heaven forbid, IV magnesium. What they need to be doing is telling women to take Remag throughout the pregnancy. The next study, the promise of one and done, CRISPR-based lipid lowering. Okay. If you've been listening to me for any length of time, you'll know that cholesterol is not the cause of heart disease, but cholesterol researchers will not give up their golden goose. In this article, our cardiologist admits that, quote, one of the biggest struggles we face is compliance with a lifetime of daily pills that may bring side effects. You bet. So he says, or she says, the author says, that's why I was excited to read about a gene editing therapy. You know what I think about gene editing? They thought they would find 100,000 genes in the Genome Project and they could just edit them out. They only found 23,000. So that means a lot of genes work, several genes can work on any one, quote, disease. So he's saying, I was excited to read about gene editing that offers the potential for a one-time durable reduction in both LDL cholesterol and triglycerides. LDL cholesterol is not the problem. And he says, could the landscape of lipid management be on the verge of a profound shift? So if you lower your cholesterol too much, you can deprive your brain of necessary fats to coat your neurons. You can deprive your body of the necessary building blocks to make hormones like estrogen and testosterone. So anyway, this CRISPR trial was a phase 1 human trial. And none of these, as far as I know, none of these genetic editing trials have worked out. I mean, they keep praying, but I think they're all living in Star Trek. So, you know, they say, yeah, statins are important and the PCSK9 inhibitors are important for cholesterol. But this gene editing brings a promise of a twice yearly dosing, and the duration of therapy is still lifelong. And these CRISPR edits are permanent. Time will tell if therapy is worth it. We don't yet know whether this will lead to decreased cardiovascular mortality because statins never did. So I've said it about 100 times that there's not a separate gene for every disease condition. And here we go, the next one. Statins, cholesterol, and the real cause of heart disease. So this is on the Mercola site, but written by a Midwestern doctor. So this person is writing a lot of good articles. And then saying, you know, much like I would say, despite decades of statin use costing approximately $25 billion annually in America alone, heart disease remains the leading cause of death, suggesting that the cholesterol hypothesis that drives statin prescriptions is fundamentally flawed. Lowering cholesterol with statins does not reduce heart disease. And they talk about Malcolm Kendrick, who I've quoted a lot. His clotting model provides a superior explanation for heart disease. And the medical establishment dismisses widespread reports of statin injuries as nocebo effects, which means people hear too much about statin side effects and imagine they are harmed. Now, I've just talked about my theory of heart disease, which I think is more important than the clot theory. And what else? There's a couple of other statin studies, but I think I'll leave it there. We're at the top of the hour. It gives us time just to show you Artie, our Pico pet dog, and say goodnight. And here comes Ginny. Oh, there's Artie.
There's Artie. That's Sheila Kern, our resident designer genius. That's her dog named RT. Get it? Because Sheila's an artist. And he is, of course, our premier. But don't overlook Lady Gaga on the Remag bottle because she's my baby. And we've got all of our staff's pets on our products and on the bottles. And pretty soon we'll have Max, Sarah and Brian's dog, coming out with our new Core Synergy formula for hips and joints. Going to be very exciting. So we got lots going on Pico Pets. Dr. Dean's product is coming, vitamin C. I think we're calling it Mega C or something. Who knows what we're calling it, but it's coming. and it will be here soon, but you really want to understand the reason behind the formula by reading the vitamin C book. That was the message, Super Dougie. Okay. And also, drcarolyndean.com is the place you want to be. I'm telling you, you've got so many great resources there. Please, please, please don't hesitate. If you know anybody, any woman who is pregnant, get her on Remeg and Remite right away. If you have elderly friends and people that you care and love about, get them on the formulas, get them to Dr. Dean's website, get them thinking, get them learning, get them understanding these fundamental basics. Very, very important. Let's go to rnareset.com, which is Dr. Dean's formula website, and they're all right there. They're little pristine selves, and they're ready to go again with the big sale on Wednesday. You're going to love that. And we're so happy that everybody's here with us. We've got all kinds of great stuff. You can send gifts to friends on their website and just all kinds of things. And of course, Supco has given us premier ratings. I mean, just the highest brand ratings. We're in the top 2% of all of the dietary supplements in the United States, people. That is no joke. It's very hard to get there, and we've done it just for you. So you can feel confident and joyful about what you're doing. And just notice 9.75 on Remag and Remite. That's just an extraordinary. You are pouring that into your body, and it is making a difference. Get the app and look about the other things that you might have talked about, like some kind of nature-made gummy, and see what the heck they're up to. And then throw that away. Order some more Remag this Wednesday on a BOGO sale. All right. So we're so happy you're with us again. And thank you, Carolyn, for everything. I mean, she's a doctor. She sits down. She talks to everybody like their family every single Monday night. We're always going to be here for you. Right, Carolyn?
That's right. I love it. Thank you, everybody. And oh, yeah, we'll give you some hearts.
Hearts. That's right. And Rachel, our producer, Melody Rose. Everybody savvy.
You have been listening to Dr. Carolyn Dean,
thank you.
the doctor
Chris.
of the future. Become a member of drcarolyndean.com and get access to all her leading edge of creation information, as well as archives, webinars, and other valuable media resources. Join Dr. Dean and Ginny Almighty same time again next week.